The U.S. Constitution under siege. Regime 2025 Power Grab Threatens Democracy by Scott Young, aka Sin-Famous Gamer. The U.S. Constitution, crafted in 1787, is the bedrock of American democracy, a carefully worded document designed to balance power, protect liberty, and prevent tyranny. Its three branches of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, work in concert to ensure no single entity dominates, while the Bill of Rights and subsequent amendments safeguard fundamental freedoms. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution's precise language, distinguishing citizen from person, reflect the founders' intent to create a nation where power serves the people, not the elite. Yet in 2025, President Trump's torrent of executive orders and actions, aligned with the authoritarian blueprint of Project 2025, threatens to unravel this framework. His moves to consolidate power in the executive branch, hobble judicial and legislative checks, and militarize domestic policy point unmistakably toward a future of martial law and the suspension of free and fair elections, betraying the very principles that make America exceptional. The three branches, a fragile balance under attack. The Constitution's genius lies in its division of power across three branches, each with distinct roles to prevent authoritarianism. Legislative branch, Congress, comprising the House of Representatives and Senate. Congress crafts laws, controls federal spending, and checks the executive through oversight and impeachment. Executive branch, President and administration. The President enforces laws, conducts foreign policy, and commands the military, but is restrained by Congress and the courts. Judicial branch, Supreme Court and federal courts. The judiciary interprets laws, ensuring they align with the Constitution, and can strike down unconstitutional executive or legislative actions. This system of checks and balances was designed to thwart any branch's attempt to dominate. However, the President's 2025 actions reveal a deliberate strategy to cripple this balance. His administration has issued over 170 executive orders in just 6 months, an unprecedented pace that bypasses Congress's legislative authority. Orders like Executive Order 14215, which extends presidential control over independent agencies, embody the unitary executive theory, a belief that he should wield near-total control over the executive branch. This theory, championed by Project 2025, undermines the independence of institutions like the Federal Election Commission, weakening democratic oversight. By appointing loyalists and firing inspectors general, he further insulates his administration from accountability, hobbling the checks that Congress and internal mechanisms provide. Freedom of religion and the erosion of church-state separation. The First Amendment's guarantee of religious freedom. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, ensures individuals can worship freely while maintaining a wall between church and state. The founders, wary of religious tyranny, crafted this separation to prevent government favoritism toward any faith. Yet the Executive Order 14192, February 6, 2025, titled Eradicating Anti-Christian Bias, risks breaching this wall. By framing the prior administration as hostile to Christians, it prioritizes one religion, potentially violating the Establishment Clause and marginalizing non-Christians and non-believers. This aligns with Project 2025's Christian nationalist leanings, which seek to infuse governance with specific religious values, eroding the neutrality that protects all Americans' freedoms. Citizen versus person. A deliberate distinction. Undermined, the founders' precise language in the Constitution and Declaration of Independence reflects their intent to balance universal rights with civic privileges. Person encompasses everyone under U.S. jurisdiction, granting rights like due process, Fifth Amendment, while citizen reserves privileges like voting for those with legal membership, Article 2. This distinction ensures fairness for all while defining national identity. Executive Order 14154, January 20, 2025, attempting to end birthright citizenship for children of non-citizens, directly defies the 14th Amendment's clear mandate. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. Federal courts have blocked this order as blatantly unconstitutional, but his persistence, coupled with this administration's defiance of judicial rulings, signals an intent to rewrite constitutional protections to serve his agenda, consolidating power by narrowing who counts as a citizen. Citizen versus person, a deliberate distinction. Undermined, the founders' precise language in the Constitution and Declaration of Independence reflects their intent to balance universal rights with civic privileges. Person encompasses everyone under U.S. jurisdiction, granting rights like due process, Fifth Amendment, while citizen reserves privileges like voting for those with legal membership, Article 2. This distinction ensures fairness for all while defining national identity. Executive Order, War Team 154, January 20, 2025, attempting to end birthright citizenship for children of non-citizens, directly defies the 14th Amendment's clear mandate. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. Federal courts have blocked this order as blatantly unconstitutional, but his persistence, coupled with this administration's defiance of judicial rulings, signals an intent to rewrite constitutional protections to serve his agenda, consolidating power by narrowing who counts as a citizen. The Bill of Rights, a sacred shield under assault. The Bill of Rights and subsequent amendments are not mere add-ons, but the heart of the Constitution's promise. They protect speech, religion, assembly, and due process, while later amendments like the 14th ensure equal protection for all persons. These rights are inviolable, designed to shield individuals from government overreach. It's the dictator-in-chief actions, however, trample these protections. His pardon of over 500 January 6, 2021, rioters, including leaders of groups like the Proud Boys, endorses an attack on the democratic process, undermining the rule of law. Orders targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI programs and transgender rights, such as Executive Order 14158, January 28, 2025, characterize gender-affirming care as mutilation, restricting personal freedoms and equality under the guise of policy. These moves reflect a broader effort to erode constitutional rights for specific groups, consolidating executive power by dictating who deserves protection. MAGA's power grab, a march toward authoritarianism. The 2025 agenda, heavily influenced by Project 2025, is a calculated effort to centralize power in the executive branch, hobbling the judiciary and Congress. The Supreme Court's June 27, 2025, ruling limiting nationwide injunctions has weakened district courts' ability to check executive actions, allowing policies like the birthright citizenship ban to potentially take effect in some states despite being deemed unconstitutional. It, now named DUMP, celebrated this as a victory for the executive branch, falsely claiming it greenlit policies like defunding sanctuary cities and restricting transgender health care. His administration's resistance to court orders, such as refusing to comply with a district court's mandate to return a wrongfully deported Salvadoran, further erodes judicial authority. More alarming are DUMP's moves to militarize domestic policy, pointing directly to martial law. On January 20, 2025, he declared a national emergency at the southern border, ordering a report by April 20, 2025, on invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807. A memorandum on April 11, 2025, expanded the military's role in border enforcement, allowing detentions in designated areas. Executive Order War Team 159, January 20, 2025, established Homeland Security task forces to coordinate mass deportations, raising fears of military-style operations in civilian spaces. Social media posts warn that these actions align with Project 2025's call to federalize the National Guard for domestic enforcement, potentially targeting protests or blue states resisting DUMP's policies. The deployment of active-duty Marines in Los Angeles to suppress immigrants' rights protests, as reported by the ACLU, signals a willingness to use military force against peaceful dissent. These steps mirror authoritarian playbooks where leaders provoke unrest to justify extreme measures. By escalating tensions through aggressive policing, mass deportations, or targeting dissent, DUMP could create chaos sufficient to invoke the Insurrection Act, paving the way for martial law. This would suspend civil liberties, replace civilian courts with military tribunals, and halt democratic processes like elections. Social media voices, including Democratic strategists, warn that Dump's actions are designed to incite rebellion, providing a pretext to cancel the 2026 midterms and maintain Republican control. While martial law has not been declared, the trajectory, consolidating executive power, weakening judicial checks, and militarizing policy, points unmistakably toward this outcome. The road to despotism, a hypothetical nightmare. Imagine a near future where Dump's power grab succeeds. Emboldened by a compliant Congress and a Supreme Court stacked with loyalists, he issues an executive order claiming sole authority to interpret laws, effectively neutering the judiciary. Federalized National Guard troops flood cities, ostensibly to secure them, but in reality to suppress protests against deportations or policy rollbacks. Citing national security, Dump invokes the Insurrection Act, declaring martial law to restore order. Elections are postponed indefinitely, with Dump arguing that chaos prevents fair voting. Independent agencies are dismantled, and loyalists replace career officials, ensuring unchecked executive control. This dystopia, rooted in Project 2025's vision, transforms America into an autocracy, where constitutional rights are relics and dissent is crushed. A call to defend the Constitution. The Constitution is not a passive document. It demands active defense. Dump's actions, pardoning insurrectionists, defying courts, militarizing domestic policy, and prioritizing one religion, spit on the founders' vision, wiping away their principles to fuel an elitist swamp of loyalists. The amendments, from the 1st to the 14th, are rights, not privileges, and any leader who violates them betrays the United States and its people. The signs are clear. Dump's consolidation of executive power, aligned with Project 2025, is a march toward martial law and the end of free elections. Americans must resist through protest, voting, and legal challenges, ensuring that the Constitution's promise, a government of, by, and for the people, endures against those who would burn it for personal gain.